What's up, and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I'm me, Tom Tate, and you're you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is your spot for the latest news on Switch 2, short and sweet, 5 to 10 minute episodes. I pour through 100, 200, 300, however many articles come out in a given week. I pour through them so that you don't have to. It's Tuesday, June 17th, 2025, and we are jumping right in with the big news up front. The June Nintendo Direct has finally been announced. Unfortunately, it's not the big fall game lineup reveal that I wanted, or maybe that you were hoping for. It's actually a 15-minute deep dive into Donkey Kong Bananza. Of course, this is Nintendo's next biggest game after Mario Kart World. It'll be releasing next month. We're actually 1 month away. This game will be out on July 17th. So this Nintendo Direct will be tomorrow, Wednesday, June 18th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I feel like we've learned so much that everything that I need to know about this game to make a purchasing decision. But I realize I'm not the target audience. So we will see how it goes. I'm anticipating we'll see some more of the side characters, maybe Diddy Kong, maybe Pauline. They already announced that they're going to introduce some new character to the Donkey Kong franchise. So it'll be interesting. Looking forward to watching that tomorrow, and I'll have some quick reactions, and we'll report it on the next episode. Switch 2 has been out for less than 2 weeks. If you can believe that, certainly feels like a lot longer. Of course, all the negative Nancys, all the complaints, they rise to the top of the news. So I will share a couple of those just briefly. People are already reporting the Switch 2 Joy-Cons have stick drift. The rate of drift seems to be pretty low. But it was inevitable, right? It was inevitable that we'd see headlines like Polygon's Switch 2 Joy-Con drift is already haunting Nintendo. Battery life is also under the microscope. Nintendo Life did a kind of unscientific poll with over 2,600 votes, and 27% of players get 2 hours of battery life playing Mario Kart World, and 29% stated that they get less than 2 hours. Only 8% claimed over 3 hours, so not much. They did an official test, and they found it to go from 100% to 0% in just over 2 hours and 10 minutes. So while this might be tough coming from the very efficient Switch 1, with a stronger console like Switch 2, you're bound to drain battery faster. Really no different than a Steam Deck or an Asus ROG Ally. Maybe, hopefully, it can be optimized over time, especially if you're playing games that aren't the latest and greatest games. This really isn't my area of expertise. I will say, I played maybe an hour and a half one night of Metal Gear Solid 2 from the Metal Gear Solid collection, which is a PlayStation 2 game, right? And that drained 50%. So, if I played all the way through, I probably would have gotten 3 hours worth of playtime. So, valid concerns. I mostly play close to a charger or docked. So we'll see. Listen, as I mentioned, I don't want to have a negative podcast, okay? But I'll share the next few stories. Just as a heads up, if you're a Switch 2 owner, I want to make sure you have the heads up here. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet players are losing saves during the Switch 2 transfer process. So if you transfer your data from one console to another, this was reported by Go Nintendo, but apparently lots of people have been sharing this on Reddit. This applies if you did the system transfer. I don't think it applies to like downloading your cloud saves, right? So beware. Last week, I mentioned the Gex trilogy was releasing for Switch 1. It was hitting the eShop. So by default, it was hitting Switch 2. But on launch, it did not boot into Switch 2. So I think that we can expect a fair bit of this as Switch 1 games phase out, as they continue to phase out. They're currently working on a patch for Gex, but this is definitely a bummer for anyone who was excited to jump in on day one. I don't know how many diehard Gex fans were that excited to jump in on day one. Personally, I loved Gex. I will be picking this up at some point, but I did not pick it up on day one. Someone found that the Switch 2 HDR settings can be a bit troublesome for certain TVs. So there's a detailed video that I will link in the show notes where someone walks through on YouTube kind of how to go through and reset your settings so that it really makes the most out of your TV. If you're interested in optimizing your video output, especially if what you have currently feels a little washed out or flat, definitely check that video out. Nintendo is cracking down on piracy. There's really no surprise here. Apparently, users attempting to use the MIG Switch or the MIG Switch. This is a flash card that was released for Switch 1 that allows you to play backups of Switch games on Switch 1. People trying to use this on their Switch 2s or people who have used this, they are now seeing that their console has been banned or restricted from using online services. So beware as of now. If that's your thing, you might want to exercise a little bit of caution. So some not so negative game announcements and fun clips that I came across. First of all, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. One of the popular touchstones of the 90s was the Tamagotchi, right? So the Tamagotchi was a famous virtual pet. I had one. My sisters had one. My neighbors had them. My classmates had them. They were so popular. There's a game called Tomagotchi Plaza for the Switch, and Nintendo just released a YouTube trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 version of this game. It's coming out on June 27th. And listen, am I about to buy Tomagotchi Plaza? I never thought I would, right? But they have mouse controls, traditional mouse controls, so you can kind of drag and pull and move things around on the screen. But they also have where you can flip the mouse upside down and then swipe your hand over kind of the optical lens to throw shurikens. And I thought that was just absolutely bonkers. The trailer makes it look really, really fun. It's kind of like a Fruit Ninja type of thing. Actually pretty creative. It got me excited for what developers can do with mouse controls. So I'm excited to see not just how that plays out, but what other games and what other developers choose to do with that functionality. If you didn't know, Nintendo and Amazon had some kind of tiff going on, some lack of agreement, where official Nintendo games and products weren't being shipped and sold by Amazon. That's been going on for a while now. Maybe third-party sellers, so you could buy a Switch game, but it wouldn't be sold by Amazon themselves. Apparently, that is over. So if you're looking to pre-order Donkey Kong or some future game and you have Amazon Prime, just know that this is now an option if you prefer to buy directly from Amazon. I always like to buy from local stores, but sometimes Best Buy, Amazon, it's the best choice price-wise, or it's the easiest choice in a given situation. Totally get that. Last but not least, one of the voice actors of Red Dead Redemption 2, Rob Whitehoff, he teased that some big news is coming this week. And the rumor has it that this game might come to Switch 2. Rumor alert, just a rumor. The original is on Switch 1, so it'd be awesome to see both of these on the same console. So that's it for the news today. We're going to keep it short. We're going to keep it sweet. Thank you so much for joining today, my friend. Have a great week. If you are digging this podcast and the format, helping me share the show would be much appreciated. Drop a note in your favorite Reddit, Facebook, or Discord community. Quick link to the show would be awesome. I'm not very good at self-promotion. I'm working on it, trying to get better. For the two anonymous folks who left my first 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Listen, I appreciate your time and attention. Much love. Now go play some games.